What's good, superstars? Back with another VV video. You got Superstar Joe, you got Superstar Rob, and you got Superstar Sean. Comics and crypto in the building. How's it going? Comics and cryptos and comics. my wife sings that song every time I play one of your videos. So I think it's definitely catchiest intro song on VV for sure. I don't know how you came up with that, but thank you for coming on the channel, and really appreciate it. And hopefully we have a fun time here.
I'm really looking forward to it, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So if you guys are new, don't forget, smash the subscribe button, become a superstar. Great things are happening to everybody who becomes a superstar. I'm telling you, you're going to go to Taco Bell. You're going to buy one taco. They're going to give you a bag. It's going to have 10 tacos in it. It's going to be delicious. And you're going to say, how did this happen? And you're going to remember, oh, yeah, I'm a superstar. And if you need some extra juju on those drops, we got the Superstar VIP, $2.99 a month. Hit that join button down below. You get some funny badges. You get our spreadsheet that lets you know the probability of profiting on a blind box drop. Also, we're posting our buys ourselves. We're doing giveaways. We got Disney mini brand giveaways that we're doing. We already have one winner, another one coming in a couple days. And we're actually naming a real life star in the universe after one of the VIP this month. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna make the superstar constellation. I can't wait.
After we get a couple superstars in the sky, we're gonna have a constellation. It's gonna be great. We might have to make a slide for that. Here are the VIPs. Shout out to all the VIPs. Thank you guys so much for joining the VIP. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Send us your pictures. Send us your videos. Sean's gonna see them because he follows us. So that's really important. And the whole VV fam, make sure you're following Comics and Crypto on Twitter. They put out great content as well. And always make sure to be following us on the VV app. Fastos number 6909 for 9.9 million. So,
hey Sean, you have a Fastos up there or what?
No, but it looks like I need to.
You don't want to build the wall. Build the wall.
So Sean, you were telling us before we came on that there's a special little something you wanted to announce.
Yeah, definitely. But before I dive into that, I actually wanted to answer your previous question about the music. So the band they're called 9 Finger 999. I just want to give a big shout out to them. And I actually met Josh, who's part of the band, and I sold a comic to him, like a physical comic, like a year and a half ago. And him and I became good friends. We hit it off, and I said, "Have you gotten all of Veve yet?" It's like just before the Spider-Man drop with Marvel.
Oh wow!
Just before they announced it, yeah. And I said, "You got to get involved with Veve, man." And he did, and now he's part of a group chat, and we're very close friends. And he actually came up with the jingle. He wrote it.
Nice.
Now I think we gotta get a
big shout to Josh. Yeah,
we gotta get a superstar jingle from him. I think because that one there, I'm telling you, man,
so good.
It is ridiculous. Like it's stuck in your head all day. You watch one video, it's like 24 hours.
So big shout out to Josh and 9 Finger 999. Yeah,
awesome.
That's them on 9 Finger. It's 9 Finger 999 is them on Instagram and Twitter.
Perfect. We're gonna reach out right after this video for sure.
Awesome. And I'm on to the giveaway. Yeah, so we are going to Comic-Con. Very excited about it. And so is Elite Comics 11, our wonderful friends and sponsor of the podcast. Amazing. That's great. So this is the grand prize. It's a amazing Spider-Man 300 CGC 9.2. This is the first full appearance of Venom and also the origin of Venom. This is one of the most significant comics and considered probably the most famous artwork from Todd McFarlane ever. And the fair market value for this comic is around $800. And we're also, if you click the QR code, there's also other giveaways in there as well. So there'll be about 5 prizes also given away from Veve. Veve's getting involved with this as well. So big shout out to the Veve team for their wonderful donation. And also Apollo NFT. We're getting involved in an awesome project called the Satoshiverse and Satoshi the Creator, which we'll dive into a little bit later. But yeah, I'm so pumped for this. And if you get everybody involved, it's gonna be great. Oh, and also this is gonna be shipped worldwide. Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's gonna be up soon.
I gotta go rewatch our video after.
Yeah, so when this launches at 9 a.m. PST tomorrow morning, that's when it launches. Yeah, right there. Yeah, so 9 a.m. PST, it's gonna go on for a week, and then we'll announce a winner next week. So
that's really cool.
The physical comic will be shipped worldwide, so everyone has a chance to get involved.
Guys, that is really awesome. Make sure you come back to this video at 9 a.m. Pacific and scan that barcode and enter. Like you said, it's partnering with Elite Comics 11 on Instagram and at Veve as well. You click, you scan the barcode. There's other things you can see there. So really, really cool stuff. You guys are always doing awesome collabs, and we had to get a piece of Sean and Comics and Crypto and bring him on the channel and have some fun here. So Rob, I think you had a couple questions you wanted to start off with, and then maybe we'll get into a little fun little game at the end here.
Yeah. So first of all, we appreciate you obviously coming on. We have a great opportunity right now because we make many videos. We often rely on your spreadsheet, right? Your ranking system. It's quite, it pretty much has everything on Veve. Real comic book collectors are being created thanks to Veve. People who never even thought that they would be interested. So just to start, were you originally a comic book collector? Just quickly tell your story and how you ended up doing what you're doing now with Veve.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of comics. Definitely a collector, but not an investor. Investor was about 5 years ago. That's when I started investing in comic books, buying graded slabs and understanding the market and diving deep into the market and understanding speculation and what comics are valued the most and why. The importance of scarcity versus popularity. It's really been quite a ride, and it's been very interesting to see how much it translates in digital space. There's really a deep connection there.
And then with Veve, how did you eventually find it? Was it just because of an announcement that you saw, or how did you hear about this?
There was a video that I watched. I forget who it was. It was not somebody that was connected to the Veve community, but I will say the one of the videos that I actually watched was from Chad from NFT Pirates. He talked about the significance of first appearances, and I've said this multiple times, but Chad is one of the biggest reasons why I was like, okay, wait a minute, there's something special here. Because you're speaking my language, right? Like first appearances, comic books, I get that. I know the importance of that. So he started talking about this first appearance in the blockchain, and Veve was using the same language. And I'm like, okay. And then I started diving deep into the leadership team and started understanding their backgrounds and who they are. And man, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm all in. Yeah, no question.
Yeah, people slowly, it just pulls you in more and more and more. Next thing you know, like, oh my God, where did all that money go?
Yeah, I hear you talk about the FA and all that. I actually had a quick question here. I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but what do you think regarding first appearances on Veve? Example, Darth Vader. I know that Star Wars #1 came out prior to the actual collectible. Do you think that comic book first appearances should be classified as first appearances of those characters, or do you think that they're doing it the right way with the collectibles getting that tag? Like there's nothing on the comics except for like that little description, right?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. It's something I think about a lot. Some people are really passionate about it, but I think at the end of the day, there has to be a lot of momentum behind that move, for that to really pay off. Right now, I think it's more on the speculative side, especially since Veve is labeling these in the metadata as first appearances. It's going to be tough. But if again, you're going to need a really strong movement behind that for it to pay off. And to me, I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket on that one. Yeah. Especially when Darth Vader's sitting there and everyone's calling him Grail. And the movement behind that statue is pretty amazing, right? So
I was thinking more of how it can move the book more than it'll. I think the collectible will do what it has to do, but how it will move the book in the future, maybe people will realize like, oh, this is actually the first time that Darth Vader was on the blockchain, be it in collectible format or 2D format.
Totally, yeah. I mean, that's definitely a possibility for sure. I mean, it's so early. It's hard for us to know for sure like where this is all going to go, but that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I've always been of the opinion that the collectible market in terms of the FAs will definitely move different than the comic, but it's still possible that eventually people will start doing that cross comparison. It's just completely different. It's funny. We went on Veve Vault's stream, did a live stream. We did a debate night. I was debating collectibles, why you should only buy collectibles. Joe was debating why you should only buy comics. I think we know where you're going to sit on that one. But there's there's a lot of benefits both ways, right? And I think with FAs though, it's going to be separate markets completely. How about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's very interesting because comic books, the one thing the advantage we have with comic books is that we actually have a reference in terms of value, right? I mean, these are like a lot of these physical comic books have been around for 60, 70 years. And especially like Marvel Comics 1, it's been around for almost 80 years now? Over 80 years? That's crazy. So these physical comic books have already done all the legwork. That's what. And I'm quoting a good friend of the podcast, Dan Chabelle. Big shout to Dan. we had a conversation. He said, yeah, it makes total sense. These physical comic books did all the legwork. So now these NFT digital counterparts are connected to that IP, right? So they're connected to
No, go ahead.
No, yeah. So they're connected to the IP. So in terms of value, it makes total sense. And especially for like Marvel Comics 1, the book literally doesn't exist in physical format. When that book first dropped, I thought that was super interesting because it makes sense because it was the first comic that dropped under Timely Comics, which was the company that was established before Marvel, right? So Marvel came in 1961, and the first comic was Fantastic Four #1. So like for me, for like pop culture and historical value, Fantastic Four 1 is like the comic.
Wow.
So Marvel Comics 1 has tremendous historical value, but not much pop culture relevance. But what Veve has done to that comic, making it the first NFT dropped by Marvel, there is now significant pop culture value there. And I think over time, as this comic grows in popularity, you're going to see the physical comic book too increase significantly in value because people are going to want it with deep pockets.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that Fantastic Four 1 was the first Marvel under the Marvel license or whatever. That's cool.
Yeah. So it was under Timely Comics, Marvel Comics 1, and same with Captain America Comics #1, the one where he's punching Hitler in the face. That was under
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's under Timely Comics, but still a Marvel. It's still a Marvel.
They own it now.
Asset. Yeah. They own it still. Yeah. So I mean, when that one drops, I'll tell you guys, that's my like. AA15 is amazing. I'm super pumped for AA15, which I mean, like, I think it's probably gonna done pretty soon. But like, but Captain America Comics #1 is like, wow, 1941, less than 200 copies on the CGC census. That book is like a grail of grails. It's the first appearance of Captain America, Bucky Barnes, and Red Skull, and he's punching Hitler on the cover. Like, it's just like, oh man, when that one drops on Veve, I'll be pumped.
I'm glad you brought up AF15 too. We'll come back to that a little bit later because we're not getting through this without it coming up. But but yeah, so like I like that you did bring up. We have a measure for physical value now that helps us also measure the digital value. So what goes through your head? I mean, you have the spreadsheet here. You have, let's say, Marvel Spotlight number 5 at 8, then you have Avengers number 4 at 9. Sometimes in the app, the actual pricing is flipped compared to your ranking. I just want to know what goes into it. Do you have like almost like a set criteria that you follow to make decisions on where you put it relative to others? Is it almost mathematical or is it mainly subjective?
It's a little bit of both. Like for us, we look at physical popularity, physical scarcity. Is there any speculation behind the comic? And then also we look at the digital counterpart as well. What's the value of that looking like? So we take a whole bunch of different combination of things when we assess our rankings. But also something to really keep in mind as well. And this is kind of like a standard throughout the physical comic book community. First appearances of heroes typically do better than villains. And it makes sense, right? Because the most important thing about value for these comic books is relevance. Heroes are typically around for quite a long time. Villains are not. They're not. They're like Thanos.
They get defeated.
Yeah, exactly. Like we know Kane the Conqueror's come in, but he's probably gonna be around for maybe 3 to 5 films, and then he's out, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the comic won't do well over time. It's still very popular and big key, but you compare that to like Marvel Spotlight number 5, which is the first appearance of Ghost Rider, which is already a comic that sold for $250,000 as a 9.8, and it's a big spec book because that character we know is coming to the MCU. There's been speculation about who's going to play him, but we know it's inevitable. He's coming, and that's going to help the comic significantly over time.
Yeah, so you'll take in near-term things that are happening in the MCU into account in your ranking, which is pretty cool. I think Sleepin does something similar to that. He'll account for the MCU appearances as well. It's cool that we have like multiple reference sources to bounce ideas off of, because like then you go in with an idea and then you can bounce it off of Comics and Crypto, you bounce it off of Veve Rank, and if you guys are like in line, or if one of you is leaning towards like your own thinking, then it makes you feel better, right? It's like, oh, he thinks it's a B tier, but Comics and Crypto's got it at the top. I'm like, I knew it was good like that. So it gives you that reference. And I know you and Sleepin are pretty close too. You guys talk all the time, so it's good. It's good to have that in the community. I think there's also Boodle NFTs, another one that does it, right?
Yeah,
so,
he does great work. Yeah,
So
he did really great work.
we've got a lot, and we're very lucky to have that in the community. And I think you all bring something different. Like your spreadsheet has all of the current values, and we reference that all the time. I mean, even just to help us to understand where a book might go in the future, it gives you that extrapolation potential, where some of the others don't have that. Just personal preference or based off of, I guess, like you said, first appearances of whoever's coming out. But no, it's cool. It's cool, and that's why we appreciate your spreadsheet, especially.
Thanks,
Helps
guys.
us for future value.
That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's as much as information I try to give, at the end of the day, it's always about do your own research, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
that's if you're investing in the space, you got to have your own voice. If you don't have your own voice as an investor, you're not you're not going to succeed in the way you should. You could probably get lucky, but if you really put the time in to invest to research your investments, it's probably going to work out in your favor if you really put the time in.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, we agree totally, right? We've made multiple videos about trying to take a data-driven approach. Anything to help you measure to help you make a better decision. Perfect example: physical world value of comics, right? It's a way that you can tangibly measure and help you make better decisions that way. Of course, the whole space is speculative, but we agree with you totally on that. You got to do your own research. Speaking of the spreadsheet, though, have you ever been pressured by people in the community, or even just if you decided that you want to change it and you want to rearrange things?
We get pressure all the time. Well, especially at the beginning when we started this, people would ask us, why is this is way too low, way too low. Then I'd ask them, why is it too low? Like, just tell me what's your opinion on it? And then, usually don't get a response. I've come to learn that typically it's people just protecting their own investments.
Yeah.
But I mean, there have been people who come to me and say, hey, I think this should be lower or higher for X, Y, and Z. I'm like, you know what? Actually, those are valid points. Like, one comic that continues to impress me and I think is just going to absolutely just crush it over time is Ultimate Fallout 4. I mean, it's a modern age comic, not particularly scarce, but insanely popular. And what's really interesting is that all the comics, all the variants, are representations of actual physical comic books that exist. So, like, the Secret Rare comic is extremely valuable and rare physical comic book. And that comic book, I think it hit over, as a 9.8, just hit over $40,000.
Wow.
And yeah, and that's before this character is even in the MCU. That's just one movie, the Spider-Verse movie, right? Like, imagine when he's an actual main character in the MCU. Like, these comics are just going to soar. And as an NFT, it's going to be interesting, right? Because you have an opportunity to buy, sell, and trade these instantly around the world. People who have never had an opportunity to buy in comic books because it's hard to ship to some places. Somebody from Thailand, a friend from Thailand, actually reached out to me recently and said, hey, how can I get comics like over in Thailand? Like physical comic books. Like, I can't. And so that's why these Veve is so interesting, because you have an opportunity to buy, sell, and trade instantly around the world. Instantly. That's the key, right? Accessibility around the world is such a big deal, and people are overlooking that right now.
No, that's cool. I mean, like you kind of talked about it a little bit, but the edition sizes, I think that's something that helps maybe some of these modern comics on Veve, because in real life there's so many. We saw with Spider-Man 1 how in the real world it's not worth that much, because I think there's a million copies or something like that.
There literally is a million, yeah.
You got 30,000 on Veve, right? So kind of should help that price a little bit. I guess same thing would be with Ultimate Fallout 4. I don't know too much about it, but from how you described it, sounds like it's pretty there's a lot of them in the real world, but on Veve, not so many. So I guess further to Rob's question, have you had to make any changes on your list at all since you rank them, or do you just move them based off new books?
Yeah, so these rankings are not set in stone.
Okay.
I'm very clear about it. But I do come in with the mindset of these are the long-term rankings. So I'm not thinking like week to week. I'm thinking like a year, 2 years, 5 years from now. Like, what's this list going to look like based on the information that I know now and the information that I know that's coming. So that's how I really assess everything. But yeah, there's definitely been comic books that have gone up. I mean, especially like Ultimate Fallout 4. I mean, that's definitely jumped up a lot for sure. And some comics have come down as well. I'd say most of them have come down than up. But yeah,
you keep getting new books, right? You keep getting new things in there to push it down. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So you talked a lot about popularity, and that's why something that Joe and I have discussed previous. Because sometimes we'll do a spotlight video on a specific comic. Sometimes we'll do an analysis on comics, and we rely on the comic book experts such as yourself to help make decisions on how to play the drop, if you want to hold it long term, etc. But we noticed that maybe the Veve rank website, for example, might favor future MCU value more than your spreadsheet. And maybe that's my interpretation of it. How much do you actually value for the potential for the MCU characters? I know you're saying that the popularity is going to matter. We talked about Ultimate Fallout, how we have the new Spider-Man coming in, and he can dominate going into the next decade, let's say. But how much do you value it? Do you agree with that assessment, or is it just my own interpretation?
I agree with that big time, definitely. There are some really significant comics on this list that, I mean, I don't know how they're going to play as NFTs over time. Like the first appearance of Doc Ock, right? That's a villain. He's probably not going to be back in the MCU anytime soon. So that physical comic is going to do just fine. But as an NFT, how is it going to translate? And I think it's a very interesting. I've been monitoring that pretty heavily and see how that's going to play out over time. And I think a lot of these like modern age comics are probably going to do extremely well, way better than I thought possible. And a lot of it's tied to MCU, but that also is tied to popularity, right? So there's a great YouTube channel called Everything Always. This guy, he releases videos every day about speculation in the MCU, really, really quality stuff. And he told a story about his friend. He's over at his friend's house, and the trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness came on. And his daughter runs in. She's like 9 or 10. And she said, is that America? Is that America? Because she reads the America Chavez comics.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So she's a huge fan. So that kind of is a great metaphor for what's going to happen for these future characters. There are kids today that you ask them who their favorite, who's Spider-Man. They say Miles Morales. They won't say Peter Parker. They'll say Miles Morales. And that's where the future of all this is going. So it's going to be exciting. But I'm way in on these, especially the Young Avengers. Like that's a comic that I've been pushing for a long time. And I've been very excited to see drop on Veve. But yeah, that is literally the one example of like the future of the MCU. I actually did a top 10 modern age comics we're excited to see drop on Veve video with Sleeping Comics. And we talked about modern age comics that could potentially be coming, and 3 of the 10 have already dropped since then. Wow. So yeah. The big one though, like the big modern one you got to keep an eye out for is Edge of Spider-Verse 2, which is the first appearance of Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen.
Oh, right.
That one is like, yeah.
Is it the Ghost Spidey?
Spider-Gwen. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. No, the future values of these things, I guess, once these kids become collectors, that's going to be where it is, where they start spending their allowances, or they start like, it's just going to, you know what I mean? Or once they start working,
crypto bags.
It's just going to keep building as they keep making more wealth. It's just like they have more money to throw at these things, and it's things they grew up with. It's like us with Ninja Turtles or Power Rangers or any of these big things. If they were to come, Mario, you know what I mean? So it's good to look ahead, I think. But I think it's prudent for everybody to understand that some of these things might take some time to reach their potential value. So getting in now might be like buying a Marvel Comics one in 1945, but didn't realize its value until there was none left, right? So So Rob, you got any more?
I mean, I'm just I'm letting everybody get.
I just want to play the game.
I'm ready for you, Rob.
I'm building up to something else now. So something I wanted to address. It's been, I think, to me, it's been probably a major thing in terms of, when you talk about people outside the Veve space, hardcore NFT people, is the concept of ownership, right?
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, somebody wants to rent out the comic for a flight, take it for a flight, read it on the flight, send it back, spend the $1, whatever it ends up being. But we don't really know the specifics of the limited license between Disney and, I should say in this case, Marvel and Veve. And we don't really know what that future has to offer. So, there's an app, I think it's called Marvel Unlimited, where you can read these on a subscription basis. I'm just curious to know your thoughts on that topic. So I gave you, we have our opinions on it, but I want to know your opinion on it. Ownership. You're aware of Marvel Unlimited, I'm sure. Right? What are your thoughts on that? Where do you think we're going to go? Do you think that we're going to get over those obstacles?
Yeah. So Marvel Unlimited. So what about that specifically? Do you want me to just address like what it is to the audience?
Well, yeah. So, okay, good point. Yeah, you can say what it is, and then why someone will be attracted to that versus, right now a Veve comic that they don't really have as much control over, let's say.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So we did a recent interview with Comic Book Investments, great YouTube channel. Big shout out to David. And he made a video that kind of basically trashed Veve. And then some people in the community said talk to Comics and Crypto, so I gave him a phone call. We just chatted a little bit about it, and then I went on his YouTube. Then I went on his YouTube channel and we talked about it, about Veve collectibles and NFTs, and he kind of admitted he admitted he didn't do enough research into the topic before making the video, and he's still a bit of a skeptic. But he actually released another video recently that kind of talks about it a little bit. But that was one of his biggest arguments was, they have Marvel Unlimited. Like, why would I buy these NFTs when I can just go and buy the comic on there? Well, the thing is, when you buy the comic on the app, it's not an NFT, so you don't own the asset. You're basically renting it, because you can't buy, sell, or sell or trade it, the individual comic book, right? That's the difference. So you buy it, you basically have it on the app, but you can't take it off. You can't trade it within the app. You can't sell it within the app. The only way you can really sell it is if you sell your entire profile that consists of all your comics. So that's the difference. Whereas on Veve, you actually own the comic, the individual comic that you can trade or resell. And that's a huge deal. Yeah. And also, I don't think Marvel Unlimited, you can read things in AR, which right now it's not convenient. It's cool. But I mean, like, nobody's had their phone, like, reading AR, But in a couple of years, when AR glasses become a standard, it's going to be a massive deal. And that's when seeing is believing, and people are going to understand the significance of these collectibles. And I'm very excited for that future.
And I'm actually surprised to see the prices on Veve with something like Marvel Unlimited in existence right now, just because, like you mentioned, the utility, we know what it's going to be, but we don't have it yet. And people believe in this project so much right now that we've actually, like, that's a benefit to Veve right now, is that people are actually believing in the project so much that they're paying more for things that they can get for, like Rob said, $1 on Marvel Unlimited if you actually want to read it. I think probably most people on Veve who have comics probably haven't read them. I don't know if, I know you probably have read them, but me and Rob, I don't think I've even opened one. It's just a collecting thing, right, for us, right? So even like Rob mentioned, the limited license, we don't know the how we're going to be able to transact with these off app in the future yet. We're hoping, because we're on IMX and everything seems like it's going in that direction, maybe we will be able to do that, but we don't have that utility right now.
Right.
So I think that's where these people are coming from with the Marvel Unlimited arguments. But I think being in now is the time, because once that does come, then you might miss the boat. So it makes sense to be in early and be ready for it.
Yeah, definitely. And just keep in mind too, I mean, there are a lot of people who invest in comic books, but they don't read them. They buy graded spots. I'm gonna grab one real quick. Hold on.
Oh, I can't. This is gonna be great. I can't wait to see this one.
It's gonna be MC1.
We're gonna get some real physical, tangible things for once. We're gonna see something cool.
Oh, here we go.
These are just some modern ones that I have, but this is is Young Avengers. Yeah,
oh, beautiful. Look at that.
This is actually the rare. Yeah, it's autographed actually by the creator of the Young Avengers, Alan Heinberg. And so this was it's called Wizard World variant. So this comic was released and given away in 2005 at this Comic-Con event, right? And people were just tossing them, like they had no clue what they had. And so this is like basically the most rare variant of this comic.
Wow. And they had no idea. They're not collectors. They're not collectors. They're just
and they just probably just didn't. Yeah, well, they're probably collectors, but just either didn't care or just understand the potential of where this could go. So the very few that are left, and especially there's not a lot of 9.8s.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really really happy to get this one.
Nice.
Actually, I have two of them actually. I just grabbed these off my wall, but this is just a 9.8 Ninja Turtle. I'm a huge Turtles fan, like a massive Turtles fan.
Wow.
This is
when
Ninja
Turtles.
This is this is the first issue of the Adventures of Turtles #1.
I don't even know they had comics.
Oh yeah. Wait, what? You didn't know Turtles?
I didn't know Ninja Turtles had comics.
Oh, dude, that's where they originated from. Yeah, 1984.
I had no idea. TV show and action figures for me when I was younger.
Yeah. So 1984. Actually, here I got you, dude. Hold
Here
on.
we go.
This is the reason why we refer to comic book experts when talking about comic books.
Did you know there was a Ninja Turtles comic book?
No, I mean before Veve, I just wasn't a comic book person at all.
Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't read them. I wasn't interested in collecting them. I had nothing to do with them. Veve made me more educated on them. But yeah, that's how you learn, right? You learn from times like this.
These are in the original packaging.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
There's Raphael. We got Leonardo.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. If they drop Ninja Turtles, Sean's going to have to take out a loan or something.
He's all in. He's all in.
Future Sean problems, and then
Oh my God.
Leonardo and Michelangelo.
There you go.
So
huge fan of these.
You collect the physical like collectibles too, not just comics.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Huge, big time. And also on have you heard of the Wax blockchain? You know Wax?
Yeah.
So they dropped the first ever Funko NFTs, and they're also Ninja Turtles. So they had like the most valuable NFT of that collection. It's called the Grail NFT, and it was actually of Leonardo. And what's really cool is if you own that NFT, then you're airdropped a token which you can redeem for a physical Funko, also limited to $999.
Wow!
So this is the
nice
Funko. Yeah.
Oh,
that pairing is such a big deal.
That's utility.
That's utility right there.
Yeah, that's what the NFT. Oh, that's what the NFT looks like.
Wow,
Sick.
and it has the NFT on the. That's cool. That's utility.
Yeah.
That's real cool.
It's like that's the case.
We'll probably see that soon over here on Veve, right?
Strongly recommend guys getting one if you can. It's like they've after that dropped, people were throwing away like the NFTs like receipts.
Come on.
Wow.
I bought about 20 of them. There's only 1,000 of them, right?
What
And this
they,
thing
like
dropped on. They were about $20.
Oh, they're 20 each.
I think the floor is about 100 now, but like the first ever Funko NFT, the first ever Ninja Turtles NFT, and there's only 999 of them.
Yeah,
if that dropped on Veve, man, that'd be like 10 grand.
For sure.
How about the redemption? How did that go? Like, was it you had to submit it by a certain date? How did that work?
Yeah, exactly. So you can actually buy the physical on eBay now. I think they're around like $700. I think 600, 700. But they'll probably drop a little more over time, or maybe go up. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah. But the NFT, man, great upside. In my opinion, not financial advice, but yeah.
Yeah, all these side NFT projects that they always seem to do very limited runs. They don't have that same eyes on the project, right? To really be able to get it going. I'm glad you mentioned though, because that was my next question. And then we could play the game after that. Joe, I know he wants to play the game, but you talked about the scarcity, right, of 1,000. So something that people always talk about is, are you common gang? You know, the secret rares. Obviously, scarcity and collecting world will matter, but do you feel that as more people come onto the app, when you compare, let's say, Marvel Comics #1 to like Amazing Spider-Man, like 252, right? It's kind of a lower tier comic in the physical world with really low scarcity on Veve versus very high mint number, but very rare in the physical world. Do you think that as the masses come in, the one that is actually more rare in the physical world, even though it has more mints, will dominate through the popularity?
In my opinion, I think physical comic collectors are going to go after the comics that are way out of reach in the physical space. So, for example, like if they came on here and they saw like, what's a good example of Strange Tales 110, that's probably like 5 to 10 grand at the very bottom floor. Getting a secret rare of that or even like a common of that. I mean, it's a no brainer in their eyes, but spending $1,500 on, or like even maybe $100,000 now for a secret rare of that one, right? It's only 40 editions. To them, that just doesn't make any sense, and I don't know. I don't think that'll ever translate, in my opinion. Who knows? Time will tell. But
do you see it like Donnie kind of thing, like where Donnie's not really the most sought after thing on the app, but it's limited? Like, is that the same thing with ASM 252, or is there a little bit more behind that?
It's very similar, right? Well, this comic is definitely popular. I'm not trying to say it's not a popular. It's a very popular comic, but it's not scarce at all. Physical comic. So, from my experience, when you invest more into scarcity than IP, you tend to get burned. Yeah. And that's a big reason why I just, it's hard for me to really believe in that comic long term. I can't ignore the value right now, which is why I have it ranked in the top 10. But I mean, like I tell people, it'd be probably like 27 or 28 if it was a 30,000 edition comic, and it's jumped like 15 spots because of scarcity. Which I mean, I lose sleep at night when I come to it. But like,
that's the one thing where if you can't get it on Veve, go buy it in the store, and you can play with it in real life. Like it's the reverse.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's about a $1,000 to $1,500 comic as a 9.8. Wow. So I mean, you can get a raw copy for probably like $100 to $150. Crazy. It's wild. So that's why it's like right now and over time, when 1,000 comic books are dropped, right, or 2,000 comic books are dropped, and there are multiple 10,000 editions or 1,000 edition, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to ASM 252?
You know what? I find it funny you said that. Joe and I, we did make a video a while ago. I think it was about a month ago at this point, maybe longer. And it was titled "The Most Overvalued Item on Veve." And we did it on ASM 252. And the only reason, like, it was 2,500, I think, at the time. And obviously everything's come down. But what we speculated was that it just doesn't have that physical world value. Yeah, it has the scarcity, but as more, as more collectibles and as comics that come out that, people's eyes widen and they want to go for that instead, they might sell that one off to go into something they actually want to hold versus, a rare one. With that being said, the comic has held its value pretty well. I mean, it's been pretty much holding that 1,700 floor here and there. So, we were right in the sense that it did come down. Everything came down. But it is holding up better than we anticipated. So I found it interesting that what you mentioned there was exactly what we were speculating, that maybe the physical value is just not there long term. As the masses come in, they might look for other, better comics, we'll say, on the app.
Definitely. I mean, like Fantastic Four 5 for Doctor Doom is like, but the secret rare is down to like 1,700. I mean, that's something that people would absolutely go after over like a Spider-Man 252, right? It's just like, I mean, I'm curious, especially. Actually, going back to Doom, like Doom and Loki are very interesting characters because they're anti-heroes, so they're not exactly villains.
True.
They're anti-heroes, right? So they have a longer lifespan on screen. Like Loki has his own show, and he's going to be around for a while.
You can't kill Loki. You just can't kill him.
Yeah.
He doesn't die.
Yeah, exactly. And I fully anticipate Doctor Doom having the same type of lifespan on the MCU.
He's coming, right? Doctor Doom. He's already being Wakanda there.
There's been strong rumors tied to the next Wakanda film, and I just feel it's inevitable. It's as Ali from Elite Comics 11 puts it, the mouse doesn't spend $1 bajillion on this IP without expecting it to be in the MCU. So it's only a matter of when, not if. But when AF-15 drops, right? When AF-15 drops, I expect it to be probably like, I don't know. I would be surprised if it's under 50,000 total editions because it's a very popular book. Yeah. Typically, the books that they drop.
He's gonna do 60.
Yeah, it could be 60. It could be even maybe a little bit more than that because the comic is so popular. It just doesn't matter. That's just one that will bring in physical comic collectors who actually hate NFTs. They're like, I don't care. I understand the value of AF-15.
Right.
Yeah. So even the guy David I was mentioning earlier, and he at the end of our interview, he's like, "All right, well, when AF-15 drops, I'll probably buy it." like, there you go. See,
we're converting them. Yeah. We're converting.
Yeah. So that's why I think it makes sense. The 70,000 it makes total sense. And again, the value, if you're like, well, there's too many editions, well, the value will lie in the lower mints, in the rarities. So so and it's going to work out well.
I think the thing with like going back to the question, I guess, about the 252. It's 1,000 editions. I think people look at it. Maybe they shouldn't look at it like this, but for example, you brought up the Doom comic. Is Doom's comic 30x ASM 252? Like, should it be a 30x run? Like, is it 30 times better kind of thing to have them kind of on equal playing fields? I guess it's not maybe that much, but the prices probably should be a lot closer when you're looking at it and you're looking at real world value. People can't get it in the real world, and they can get it. On Veve, which is a cool thing, and I think they like to do that just to bring people in by having something that they can't have in real life, which is cool. Like AF-15, if that comes, that'd be, like you said, a huge draw.
So. Yeah, absolutely. And for example, like Fantastic Four 5, and that comic. I mean, there's less than 2,000 total editions on the CGC census of Doctor Doom, and it just literally doesn't exist. It's popular. It's crazy popular. And in its highest grade as a 9.6, I mean, that comic could probably easily sell for over $500,000 if there ever is a sale, but it'd probably sell for over $1 million, in my opinion.
Wow.
But this is just an estimate, and the highest grade is a 9.6, and I believe there's only 2 or 3 of them.
Wow,
and that's nuts.
Yeah,
nuts.
Yeah, that is nuts. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So Rob, are you good?
I can keep going, but
all right. I think
we'll be here all night if I keep going.
I think we'll extrapolate over here anyways, based off what I got for you. But let me pull this back up again. So if you guys haven't, 9 a.m. tomorrow, make sure you come scan this barcode. So we got a this or that game for you, Sean.
Nice.
I put together a couple of ones that are close on your list, but aren't being treated maybe the same way in the app. So I know your ranking. I just want to know if you can only have one.
Yeah.
Based off what you know in the app and what they're going for and what you think maybe in the future they would go for, which one would you hold longer on Veve and why?
And this is as NFTs only, right? Not physical.
NFTs only,
physical.
and
Okay.
if I put books that aren't the same mint number, assume same mint number, same price, everything, same buy price.
Oh, this is fun. Okay.
Yeah. So you can pick. Yeah, so you can pick from these. The first one we got is Fantastic Four number 5 with Doom. We just talked a lot about that. And Strange Tales 110. We haven't really talked about it too much, but I know that Strange Tales is ranked, I think, one spot above of Dr. Doom. And I think possibly because of what you mentioned earlier about the villain hero aspect. But if you can only have one long-term on Veve, we know that Fantastic Four 5 has been in the app a little bit longer. It's performing a little bit better. Do you see them flipping spots, or do you think long-term Doom will stay on top?
This is one of the biggest ties in our rankings. Dr. Doom, I mean, he is technically in time. I mean, he's one of the most, if not the most popular villain in Marvel history. And he's on the cover. Like, being on the cover is really important. So, and that's why Strange Tales 110, that's the only small thing about it that takes a hit is that he's on the cover. God, man, if I have to pick one, this is a great quote. This is so good. This is the
first one. This is the easy one.
I'm probably this is the easy one. I'm probably gonna stick to my guns and go Strange Tales 110. But guys, I'm telling you, it is close. Like, I'm in love with Fantastic Four 5. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. We got 252. We just talked about it. And I put 130 in there because I'm not convinced that you got 5,100 copies on this app. So I want to know what your thoughts about that is. And I looked at the prices. They're actually not too far apart on the actual app right now. I think maybe Hammerhead dropped a little bit in the last couple of days. But
what's the floor at, right? Last time you saw it for Hammerhead.
I think it was 1,200. And I know ASM's like hanging around 1,500, but I've seen them flipped. Like, they flip back and forth, right? So
that's crazy to me because it's not even close. I mean, ASM 252 is the winner.
Yeah. Like, so even if this one's way more limited, like if there's only 500, we don't know about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matter. Yeah.
That's good.
In my opinion.
I only own one, and it's this one on the left. So, the next one is a big hitter. We know that Marvel Comics one's the first ever, and we know that this one is going to have a lot of love. I'm sure that you're deciding still on your ranking. This might give a spoiler. I don't know if you can answer, but imagine we don't know the mint run though, so that could affect things.
Yeah.
What do you think? 60,000 mints across the board, same price. Which one are you picking long term for Veve?
It could be the same. Man,
again, this is a very, very close and tough one. But man, shit. I'm gonna have to, just because of how significant this comic has been on Veve already, the relevance, the pop culture value it's brought. It's the first ever NFT. I'm just gonna go Marvel Comics 1, even though, and that's crazy for me to say that, but yeah, I'm sure a lot of physical collectors are gonna look at me like, "What is wrong with you?" but I think it's gonna be very significant over time for that reason. But
I think that's a fair point. That's a good point.
Yeah. And it also just doesn't exist in physical format. Like, you're not gonna be able to get your hands on one. You know, even if you also want to pay $150K for one that's absolutely torn to pieces. Yeah. So
okay. No, that's good. That's a good answer. I think I had the same answer as you, so you don't have to feel too embarrassed. I think the first NFT, first comic NFT is going to hold a lot of value long term because there's only one.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we move on, though, I did want to ask price predictions for AF15, assuming 60,000 mints.
I think it's this comic when it's released, it's on the marketplace. I think it's going to be very similar to what you saw with Walt. It's going to hit certain prices on the floor, and then just go up and not look back. You know, people are going. This is a comic that people are stacking gems now to stack when it drops. You know, there are going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of people looking to stack this thing, and it's going to be hard to even buy some on the marketplace on drop day. So yeah, so secret rare.
Common.
Estimated price.
Let's do common.
Common. I think it's very possible we could see this thing hit over $100 for when the dust settles on opening day. Yeah.
So
I think it's very
similar to
possible.
Marvel Comics pricing, or you think it'll be
Yeah.
higher?
I think it'll be at least the same, and possibly even a little bit more, purely because of the hype that people are buying into it. Yeah, I think we might see it settle a little bit below, but I can definitely see it going past Marvel Comics 1 for that reason, because of the hype. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be a good time whenever that happens, and hopefully it's in the near future. I mean, we've been getting all kinds of Easter eggs. So, So now I got another slide here. It's of one of the previous comics I've shown. If your answer is the same, you have to choose from the other three. There's a 4-parter, this one, okay?
Okay.
So here we go.
That's amazing. Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
If the answer is Marvel Comics 1, I want you to choose from the other 3.
Man, I mean, Action Comics 1 is the grail of grail. So for me, it's no question. I mean, actually, recently there was a Raw comic that was purchased for $4.5 million.
Wow.
And this was back in, I think it was like 2 months ago, and it was at Mile High, which is a big comic book shop in Denver. It was a Raw copy, and it was estimated that the grade could be a 9.4. And if that is the case, if they send it in, I don't know why that seller didn't just get it graded first, because, man, they would have probably got that back pretty quick considering the value of this comic. But yeah, if it comes back, and the highest grade is 9.0, and if it was a 9.4, that comic can sell probably $15 million plus.
Wow.
So
I would not be surprised. Yeah.
If this comes to Veve, it's instant #1 comic.
It's I mean, pending total editions, it's definitely going to be 100% top 3. I mean, for sure. If not possibly, yeah.
And how does Batman rank around these? I don't know real world comic values. Is it 4th in the real world, or
on this list?
Yeah.
On this list? That one's really tough too, because that one just doesn't exist. I mean, there's only a few hundred editions, I think, on the CGC census, and that one came out in 39 as well, the same year as So, and this is the first appearance of Batman. You know, Batman 1, there's also incredibly valuable comic that sold for millions. Both these comics sell for millions. This and Batman 1, and Batman 1 is the first appearance of Joker and Catwoman, and it's also the first issue of the series. But this is the first appearance of Batman. And man, if you can even actually see one in person, that's a blessing. You know, actually, there's a really cool comic collector. Her name's Nerdy Girl Comics, and she owns all these comics.
Wow. She has all of them?
Yeah.
Oh my!
Including a Captain America Comics #1, and it's a 6th grade, 6.0 grade. Yeah,
I missed that one on this list.
I'm definitely gonna stop by her booth and see those in person, because I just let me sniff your comics. It's insane. Like all those, she has all the grails. It's amazing. What a collection. Yeah.
That's crazy that she was able to acquire all those as well. I'd be scared. Where do you keep them? You can't keep them at your house, I don't think.
Yeah, I would be scared to leave them at the house. Yeah. It was interesting, actually. There's companies that are creating, you send in your comic, and they keep it insured in a safe, protected vault, and they give you a digital NFT asset of your physical, which you can use to buy, sell, and trade within their ecosystem. So if other comic collectors are on there, and you want to potentially go to a future metaverse comic show, you can bring all your NFT comics, buy, sell, and trade the assets digitally, and then whenever you want to cash out, they'll mail them to you, the physical comics.
Wow.
Yeah, really awesome,
cool.
right?
That's
cool
very cool.
The way I see a lot of these things playing out, and I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon, but I like what you just mentioned there. I think the way they're going to play this out is that they're going to do that thing where they break it up into shares. Like you get that one asset, like you said, you send it into this place, and then the person who owns it can sell off shares of it. And like you said, maybe NFT is the way of tracking how much of a percent you own of the book, and then people buy into it that way. Because I think Logan Paul actually is doing something like that now.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if his website does comics. I know he's doing Pokemon cards or something like that. But I could see that being the future of some of these grails, because there's so few of them, right? And that's a way to make the money probably faster than finding someone to buy it.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's definitely a really cool opportunity, because these collectibles, in my opinion, are just going to go up in value. So when you have an opportunity to invest in them like the stock, That's a huge opportunity. I mean, like one of the biggest grails for baseball cards is the Mickey Mantle 1952 Topps rookie card, and there are I think 10 9 grades, and a recent sale went for $5.2 million for that card, and there are 10 grades, and I don't think they've ever sold. So you can imagine what those would sell for. And last like 3 or 4 months ago, Topps sold one, the actual NFT, as a 1 of 1 NFT of that card on was it OpenSea? Sold for only $400,000. I couldn't believe it, but that just shows how early we are in the digital licensed collectibles market. Because man, I thought that was gonna sell for millions. I'm like, whoever got that for $400,000, man, is gonna be able to. It's such what a buy-in.
One of one. Yeah, one of one.
Yeah,
we just did a video on that yesterday with the 1-on-1s.
Exactly. Yeah, when you set your grails as 1 of 1s, I mean, like when you actually have an opportunity to actually own a grail as a 1 of 1, that's amazing.
The guys buying this kind of stuff, they're like usually extremely wealthy, obviously, but they're also very comfortable. When you're buying something like this, you're not selling it. If anything, you're keeping that, you're passing it down generations. They're very comfortable sitting on this stuff for a long time. I don't see why that would be any different for the 1 of 1 space on Veve, which is going to come, according to Alex, from the spaces with Veve Magic, right? So we know that there's a chance, pretty good chance that we're going to see in the very near future 1 of 1 sales paired with physical collectibles on Veve.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to follow the same kind of market as any elite, NFT or physical collectible, where whoever's buying that, they have no problem just sitting on it and looking back maybe even a decade later or longer, when they just feel maybe it's time to part ways. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if they give it with some big IP, like if Disney comes out with a 1-on-1 like we talked about yesterday, I think it's over. I think that's the new Action Comics.
I feel it's inevitable. I think they eventually will do things like that, and they literally have the endless possibilities to have so much IP, and that's why I go back to like ASM 252, right? Right now it seems like a very scarce comic, but over time, will the actual IP itself, the comic itself, hold the weight? Or is it just the scarcity playing the factor right now? So those are things that people need to think about right now. It's super important.
Okay, so the next one it's not a this or that. It's actually something that I've been doing with my personal collection. I can't get into too many secret rares. So I've been looking for opportunity where there's maybe not so many eyes. And one of the places, I don't know if you've seen any of the posts, but one of the places I've been looking has been like 3-digit commons of some of the grails. So for example, Fantastic Four #1, there's only 499 3 digits because they held back 500, and that's among all rarities. So in the common, there's even less than 499 3 digits. Now, I don't know how you feel people are going to actually treat these in the future. I know secret rares actually exist in real life, and they're rare. People look at them like actually they're people go after the rarer comics, like you showed yours for Young Avengers #1, like they're well endowed. It's not like people only want the commons, but I gotta show you that one later. But low mint commons, what do you think about it, and how do you think they're going to compare? Do you think there's a opportunity there right now, or do you think that secret rares is going to take off and these things will be there just because you can buy the same one with the high mint?
Over time, I mean, we've already seen it right now. There's been a strong movement behind this, right? Differentiating value, and it's so important. Because they're all the same, and how are we going to figure out what determines the value? And I think the low mint system is a train that's getting bigger and stronger every day. Low mint commons, in my opinion, are going to be very significant. Will they be better than low mint common versus like a high mint ultra rare or secret rare? I mean, I've seen low mint commons sell for more than high mint secret rares. I mean, I saw one for Marvel Spotlight #5. I know the person who bought it personally, and it happens. So over time, we'll find out like what's more significant. Tracking past sales is crucial because we'll be able to know and identify, what people are valuing and why. And but yeah, I definitely believe in low mint commons. I just believe in low mints in general. I mean, for me, I'm a low mint secret rare guy, but
that's the dream, right?
yeah, that's what I've been diving deep into. But yeah, it's.
I think you're going to be good with your secret rare idea for sure. I think this is one that I'm looking at as a side, kind of like maybe people aren't looking here right now, and maybe eventually it'd be too late to be looking at. And the other thing I was thinking about is if we do have interoperability on IMX, or if we do get OpenSea, I don't know if that's going to happen, but even on IMX, when other collectors, people who find Veve through IMX rather than directly through Veve, and they see a comic, are they going to know that there's other variations? I mean, how are they going to present it over there? If they don't know that, I think that these might have a little bit more importance, especially if the mint is the only distinguishing factor. Like, and I agree with you there.
Yeah, because the thing about OpenSea right now, the mint numbers kind of are just used to just to identify the NFT, right? Like the value typically lies in the features because they're avatar projects.
101s, yeah.
Right. But whereas these, it's more about the mint number because that's how you differentiate in value outside of the rarities, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. But I'm really excited about like 101s, like last mint numbers and publishing year mint numbers. I did a video on that recently with Anthony. Big shout to Anthony. He's he's got a stack, dude. He recently picked up the 1977 Secret Rare.
Wow.
Star Wars. Yeah, he picked that one up recently.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's a gangster. Yeah,
I think I saw that tweet. I think I saw his tweet about it. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Super happy for him.
Okay, so I skipped over it. I actually forgot I was in there because we're dealing with comics and crypto here. But now I know that you got some collectibles. So the big one on Twitter right now, everybody's talking about it. I'm getting them in my notifications every single day. I want to know your thoughts.
Yeah.
Vader versus Todd. I know you're a big firsts guy, but how do you see this playing out in the future? I know that there's a little bit less Vaders.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Well, even though there's less Vaders, there's still like the entire collection of that collectible. So there's like 40 or 50,000 total. So, when somebody can't get the ultra rare, they'll go down to the rare, and they'll go down to the uncommon and common if it gets too out of reach. But the thing is about the Todd, there's only 7,500 of them. That's it. And you have it's not just the first appearance of Batman, but it's also the first ever DC drop, which that is massive. That's very significant. And also it's apparently the first minted NFT by Veve. So if Veve takes off in the way we all believe they will, there's tremendous historical value there for this NFT. So yeah, they're both going to do wonderfully in my opinion. You can't really lose either way, but I mean for me, I'm definitely a Batman. Yeah, and like I said, hero FAs over villain FAs, right?
There you go. That's the perfect example.
That's a good point. That's actually a good point.
Yeah. All right. No, that's cool. I appreciate you playing the game. I know there's going to be comments that are going to disagree with us on a bunch of stuff here, but it's just for fun, guys. So let's remember that and let's be nice. And again, thank you for taking the time. Rob, you got anything else?
I just want to pull this up very quickly. Obviously, Sean, we appreciate you being here. Before we close up here, why don't you just let everybody know maybe a little bit about your podcast and how else they can reach you?
Yeah, definitely. So this is our link tree. We're still building out our website. We'll eventually have merch on it and all that fun stuff. But this link tree we have for now, which we've separated all of our different resources for our podcast, which is our YouTube channel. We're on Apple, Spotify, and Amazon as well. Our Twitter account, Instagram account are on here, which we're very active on there. And then we like to use market caps for our collections and compare them to physicals and digitals. We have that our most up to date, which is probably like 4 months old now. But it's a good example to give you some there it is, to give you some understanding of physical and digital value in the comparison and show like the upside. And then we also are easy access to our weekly updated Veve NFT comic rankings. So, and also most importantly, on the very top, big shout out to Cherry Charts and Brendan Cherry. He and his team have created an ecosystem where you can just build your own slab of your NFT comics. And we have some really cool announcements coming soon, which I'm very excited to share as well. Nice. Which include like one of ones and potentially digital collectibles as well. Something we've been trying to build out for a long time. So yeah, we're working on that, but we'll definitely keep you all posted on it.
Cool. Okay. All right. Again, thank you, Sean, so much. I learned a lot. Everybody watching, I would love for you to comment below. Let us know your thoughts on today's discussion. We talked about a lot of things. What did you learn? Is there something you'd like to add? Something that you want to mention from anything in the discussion? We talked about ownership. We talked about one thing that stood out to me, the villains versus the heroes, right? That these are all very, very good points going forward. And as a community, we talk about it and we learn.
Turtle Comics. Ninja Turtle Comics.
So going back to that, just real quick before we end.
Yeah.
So the original Ninja Turtle comic, man, that as the original first print of that series only had 2,500 copies of the
Wow.
original first print. Since then, they had I think they've had 3 or 4, maybe 5 prints, maybe 6 of the first issue. But the first print of the issue is insanely valuable. As a 9.8, one recently sold for up to $250,000.
Wow.
It's a huge comic, guys.
Yeah.
Massive.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
a popular IP.
So, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
interesting the way you know it's the first print is within the comic itself. It has an advertisement for this other comic called Gobbledygook. And that's what it's called. Yeah, I like it. And that's how you know.
Is that what it was? Oh wow.
Yeah, so I was in an AMA recently with Sanjay, and we were talking. I think Sanjay was on there. I don't remember what's on there, but we talked about that. And I said, if they ever do a release an NFT version of that comic, you gotta have the Gobbledygook advertisement.
Right.
You gotta have that advertisement in there. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That'd be awesome.
So is there anything else actually then before we close off? Is there anything else you want to mention before we head out?
Make sure to get involved in that giveaway. Click that QR code. We're going to be releasing the giveaway 9 a.m. PST July 20th, and it's going to go on for a week. And all the details are in that QR code, but we're giving away this physical comic worldwide, and also we're going to be giving away other amazing collectibles as well that will be shown in the Gleam.
I'm sure you're going to tweet about it, and we'll also retweet it to remind you guys. I
appreciate that.
So
awesome.
I appreciate you coming on for sure. Everybody, make sure you go subscribe to Comics and Crypto, especially for the theme song. That is my favorite theme song on YouTube. It doesn't matter what the content is that I'm watching, and just get stuck in your head. I'm telling you, I gotta reach out to that guy after this video.
9 Finger, 9 Finger. Make sure to give him a follow too.
Yeah. All right. So before we send off, we gotta open up a mini brands for our VIP. This is a different one. I don't even know what it is. It's like a shopping bag. You got a Minnie Mouse shopping bag.
All right.
That's awesome.
That's added in the collection. I guess you can put your little other mini brands inside it if you want.
You can put some of those lunch boxes in there.
Yeah. No confirmation that when this is shipped to you that it will come as one piece because it's like a piece of paper, but really
That's
cool.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Like, see, I'm putting the beast in the shopping bag. So there you go. So shout out to the VIP again for being VIPs, and also if you haven't already, don't forget,
become a superstar. Smash the subscribe button. We can't wait to hear what you guys have to say below. Comment below. We don't care if you agree or disagree with some of the things we talked about in today's video. I know we did some this or that. It could be a little bit, there's going to be some debate. So let us know what you guys think. Get your voice out there. And now you can also become Superstar VIP. Obviously, get that cool symbol beside your name, our probability spreadsheet, our buys and sells. And hopefully someone out there is going to have a star named after them soon through NASA. So can't wait for that one. I'm excited. So thank you all for watching. Especially thank you to Sean, Comics and Crypto. What a great discussion that we had today. I learned a lot. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you. Standing O. Thank you so much. And
thank you, Rob and Joe. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, man. So thanks so much.
Thanks for coming on. And we'll see you all on the next one. Take care.
Love you. Bye.